All right, so it's day four, and I can totally understand why people don't do this because suddenly I'm accountable to something, a camera, admittedly. But the reality is, the camera is a recording of myself. So, really, I'm becoming accountable to myself. I found myself complaining about things which barely matter, like this DJI camera that I'm using, only recording in 4 GB files, so it cuts things apart and I have to rejoin them. And obviously, I'm like, oh, this is a problem. Oh, this is annoying. Maybe I should just give up. But the reality of that is it's got nothing to do with the clips being split apart. It's me looking for a way out. And my understanding of this is, and I imagine that you'll be going through something similar if you're doing this, what I'm doing, or anything really where you are seeking new opportunities. My problem with it, and you might be facing the exact same thing, is the issue is I'm focused on resources. And I don't really know in this very second what the alternative is. I have always been taught to focus on resources unconditionally. No, unconsciously. Sorry. Unconsciously, I've been taught to prioritize resource allocation within a resource poor environment. I grew up in what I would definitely describe as poverty, bad food, lack of money, money used ineffectively, technical homelessness, moved about loads all over the country, never felt safe at home, was always prepared for everything to be taken away from me. And this has conditioned me over years and decades. And in speaking to the camera now, in this moment, you might be facing something very similar, I'm starting to doubt whether I have the resources necessary to film myself every day and to give away a part of myself into something that promises nothing in return. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, just believe the camera. Just believe that making social media posts and making content will benefit you. Just believe. But it becomes so ingrained in you not to believe, or to not believe that using resources, expending resources unnecessarily will benefit you in any way. In poverty, I mean, just like look at people. I'm not the best example of poverty, but I've got a lot of stories, I suppose. But there are a lot of people who are just on the street and that you can visually see the embodiment of poverty. And rather than a poverty of resources, the main problem that I've found within poverty is a bad use of available resources. And so the problem I'm facing now making this content is it's demanding me to shift the balance of resource allocation within my entire life. And this is terrifying to me. Absolutely terrifying. It frazzles my brain. I feel mentally drained. I feel like I could pass out right now. I'm afraid to go to sleep. I'm like looking at my phone, and obviously that's wasting resources. And that is the negative poverty cycle of a spiraling down by feeling threatened by the availability of resources and therefore badly using resources because you are afraid. And fear I find fear will tell you the truth, but only in how it lies to you. Fear lies, that's its only truth. And it basically inverses the exact thing that you should be doing. Like, I'm afraid, so I'm looking at my phone before I go to bed. But what's the opposite of that? Well, looking at my phone is incredibly unrestful. It's blasting my eyes with blue light. It's destroying my sleep. And so, obviously, that's the exact opposite of what I should be doing. I should be maximizing my quality of sleep. And then I'm no longer in poverty. I'm no longer in sleep poverty anyway, and I'm no longer as mentally drained because I have the capacity for recovery within each 24-hour day cycle. But, poverty is the face in the mirror, the person we see when we look in the mirror. That's poverty, because that offers a 2D reflection only of the visual aspects of our individual lives. You know, a mirror doesn't reflect your social status effectively. It might if your clothes are posh, if your face is pruned, if you look as a male like you have high testosterone, which, you know, just to be clear, that's like you end up with a bit of a slimmer face, a more defined jawline, color in the face, a brightness in the eyes, with a hint of kind of malice, of which is like power basically. So that's what I associate with high testosterone, and the malice is, I am putting myself first, and I don't care what anybody else thinks. And I don't not care. I'm putting myself first, and I know that that is the right thing to do. And that's what that I mean by that kind of malice. And it very much gets attacked when you have it when you live in poverty, because it's threatening to the people around you, because they don't have resources and they want what you have. What little resources you have available to you, they want you to use to improve their lives, and not for you to improve your own and provide a better example for the people around you, which is a very rich experience. I think if you're surrounded by people who want you to improve their lives, that is abundance in my understanding. And so, I mean, what I'm saying is completely off the cuff, and I haven't planned any of it, but hopefully what I'm saying makes some sort of a sense. You know, I'm just trying to say that if you're gonna record yourself, make content, do all these things, you need to reorganize in some way your resource base. Like, where are you getting your resources from, and how are you maximizing their efficiency to behave in a productive manner within life? And therefore you can inspire others by saying, this is how I've provided value in my life, these are the steps I've taken, and this is what it led to. And you don't have to do it, but if you think that that's a desirable end goal, then this is exactly how I did it. I would recommend not deviating from that until you feel confident enough that you've built a foundational layer very much similar to either the way I've done it or others have done it, and then you kind of give yourself an opportunity scam caller from London. So they're like, really, obviously I think doing this filming for me personally is going to be the best thing that I can do, because I then become accountable to number one, and number one in this point in my life is myself. I do hope that in the future my number one becomes a bit more spiritual, and I'd very much like to understand the relevance of a higher power and my necessary worship of the good, you know, which people refer to as God, the good things in life. All the good is God, as far as I can tell anyway. That's how I'm contextualizing it. And if you worship the good through resource allocation, then you can create a better existence, one where you are more satisfied, where you are fulfilled, and where you are a benefit to society, because you have the capacity to maintain your health, to build relationships both to people and to the world, and you can monetize in some way that experience of yours within health and relationships to deeply connect with the reality around you. And so I'm going to find this journey absolutely exhausting, and that's a good thing, because it's going to condition me to allocate resources more effectively, because I'm wasting resources. I'm 30. I have health problems, gut problems, which leads to really quite bad eczema, in fact, terrible eczema, which is very traumatic. But I can maintain it and I can heal from it by allocating resources more effectively. My body cannot heal when I'm stressed. My body cannot heal as effectively when I'm tired. My body cannot heal as effectively when I'm afraid. And so to heal and to restore my body and to get rid of my eczema, I have to get rid of my fear. I have to get rid of my stress. And I have to get rid of my exhaustion, really. And and it's just, and I'm not saying you'll have health problems, but whatever problems you have in your life, they require the highest resource allocation. Your problems are the things that you should be focusing on, number one. And the reason for that is because, imagine we want to build foundations which are stable and we can rely on. But the problem is we have good things in our life and bad things in our life, and this leads to unstable foundations. And so we're spending too long walking up and down, and it's very hard to find peace, and it's very hard to rest. Whereas if you resolve the problems, everything becomes leveled out, and you start to live a more balanced life. And that's how I'm processing this. I have problems, and they are related to my health. And if I address my health problems as number one, then I can stabilize my life, and in doing so, provide a more stable surface to build an entire life upon. And I really, really wish someone had told me this, and this is going to get 0 views, I get that, but if I'd had somebody who could tell me, or at least attempt to help me to understand that I shouldn't have blamed myself, but I should have taken ownership of my experience, because self-blame was just grinding myself down. That's what my parents did. But responsibility is picking those things up, investigating them, and working out what to do with them.